This time last year, I decided to invest my time, not money, my time, into shooting a short form series to publish here on YouTube on my channel. Why I did it, I don't know. I just felt this creative impulse to just do something. And I'll tell you why that happened. A lot of my work comes down to shooting actors' portfolios, so show reels, so they pay me to write scenes and have them act the scenes, and I'll direct the scenes professionally like it was an actual scene from a project, and then they use that material for their show reels. And I get lots of clients along the year, and I met this one girl that came and asked me for the show reel and some scenes, and I shot a particular scene with her, which I was very fond of, that scene, that character, and I was just, I've written so many scenes, but that one just really resonated with me. And I really wanted to see that scene well performed. I had this really fixed idea of how the scene should be played. Anyway, this girl, as I said, came and she hired me to shoot that scene in particular and a couple of others. And we did that, and she was absolutely amazing. I was floored. I remember shooting, the actual day I was shooting, we were covering her side, and I was like, oh my God, holy boop, I'm not gonna swear here, but holy shit. It was just something absolutely amazing. I was floored by her performance, and it gave me this desire to really pursue that character and create something around that character specifically. And that's how this series was born. Basically, I wrote like 20 pages, 25 pages worth of material around this character and around stuff that she did. And I challenged this girl, Joanna is her name. She plays the lead in the series, and I challenged her to do this with me. We have no money, I have nothing, I have no means. Actually, I have means, I have my gear, and we can just try and shoot around people's availabilities and try and, score some sets with friends and family and blah, blah, blah. And that's exactly what we did. So we ended up shooting just me and the actors. I had absolutely no help. And we shot those 20 to 25 pages of script, and I cut it down to 3 episodes around 7 or 8 minutes each. And that's how the series ISABEL was born. It was a very, very tough shoot. I'm used to working alone. I started making films when I was really young, 14, 15, and I've always had this ease of making things happen. It was a hard shoot because we had to juggle a couple of sets, and the scenes were not technically demanding, but dramatically demanding. So I had to be on top of the actors and really making sure they were delivering the performances that I was looking for. And being alone, as much as you're willing to do it, it always takes a toll. After a few hours, after a few days, you start to feel the weight of all the gear that you have to keep switching, because I'm not going to ask the actors to do stuff because they don't know better. So I literally had to do the lighting, the sound, and everything that a production like this entails. And it was my first time doing lighting, performing as a director of photography, which is something I've never done before. I've always worked with DPs, and that was a challenge in itself as well. So I was scared but motivated. I don't think I did a fantastic job, especially in the first episodes. I think the later episodes are a little bit better in terms of lighting. But I did my best, and I was kind of learning as I went. And it was all challenging and very tiring to do all of this alone. And so we wrapped those 3 episodes. I uploaded them to YouTube. It took me about 2 weeks to cut it all down to the 3 episodes, do the color grading, the sound mixing, and all that stuff. And we released the episodes, I think, in February of this year, 2025. And which is ending, by the way. Happy New Year, if you're watching this after New Year's. So we ended those 3 episodes, we aired them on YouTube, and it had, I didn't get much views because my channel is not big, so I didn't have many views. All the views that we got were basically, out of publicity that we did on Instagram, on social media, with friends and family. But the feedback was good. It was really good. The feedback was really good, and we were really happy about that. And I particularly was really happy about that because I hadn't done something and put it out there to the world to see in a long time for many different reasons. So with the success, if you will, of these 3 short episodes, We decided to, let's do some more. Let's try and develop the story a little more and see where it goes. That's exactly what we did. So I wrote 4 more episodes, this time a little more organized, knowing that each episode will be between 8 to 10 minutes or 7 to 9 minutes or something like that. So I wrote those 4 episodes and we began shooting that, I think, in March or April this year, I think. And that production was a lot easier because I managed to get some help from the film school. So I called them and I said, I have this project, I don't have any money, but I'm looking for people that are willing to help to maybe learn and get some experience of this project. And thankfully enough, the school was really nice and they offered contacts of people that might be interested, and that all went well, and we got 4 or 5 people to help us with the shoot. That was amazing because as opposed to the first 3 episodes, these had a little more cast, so a little more actors, more locations. So that shoot lasted for I think 5 weeks or something, because we had to wait for actors to be available. I say 5 weeks, I was not shooting for 5 weeks. We shot in total about 6 days, 5 to 6 days. But it took 5 weeks to get those 6 days of shooting, between people being available, etc. and whatnot. So we wrapped those episodes, I think, in April, and we got it done. I mean, I cut the episodes. I had to wait a long time for the music from my composer, the composer I work with, which is Bruno Bizarre. He's amazing. And he had a lot of work and he wasn't really available at the time, so we had to wait something like a month or 2 before the music was ready. And eventually all, went very well. I'm very proud of those 4 episodes. I think they're much better than the first 3. And I'm really proud, and that's part of the reason why I'm actually doing this video, is to let you guys know that this is available for free for you guys to watch in this channel. It's called ISABEL. There are 7 episodes. The story isn't finished. We end kind of on a cliffhanger. But I really would like if you guys would take your time to see what you think. Consider that it was done with literally no money, and the first episode's me alone with no crew, and the later episodes with a little more help. But I'm really curious to see what people think, because these 4 episodes, the latter episodes, have almost no views. I think the most we have is 300 views, which is, not great. So that's part of the reason why I'm making this video, to see if people get excited and want to give their opinion, because we live off feedback. We want to know. I'm proud of the product, but I really want to see what people think, and we haven't had that opportunity with just, a couple of 100 views. So check it out. I'll leave a link here if it makes sense, or at the end of the video you'll be able to see that. And before I go, I'd like to talk about all the gear that I used, since we talk about gear in this channel a lot. So I'll break it down to the very basics of what I used. It was basically my Pocket Cinema Camera 6K and my Sigma 18-35 1.8. That's it in terms of camera and lenses. I only used that lens, the exception being the very first shot of the first episode is actually shot on the what's it called again? The Helios 44-2. So I used this lens for the very first shot of the first episode. But apart from that, it was just the Sigma 18-35 1.8 and the Blackmagic Pocket Camera Cinema 6K. Pocket Cinema Camera 6K. In terms of sound, I used Zoom H8 as my audio recorder, and I used the Sennheiser MKE600, my shotgun mic, and I did use these, which I don't use anymore because I got the newer Holy Land Lark Max 2 set. But these are a very early version of a wireless mic that Sennheiser put out about 5 years ago or 6 years ago. They were rather expensive, but the sound quality is really good. But I used it very sparingly because the battery wasn't great. The battery wasn't great, and there wasn't really necessity to it in most of the setups we had, in the shots we had. So it was mostly the shotgun mic, the Sennheiser MKE600. In terms of lighting, I used The newer 660 Pro. I got the set with 2 lights, the LED lights, which are RGB, and I also use the Sunfo tube lights, really small tube lights. I already have a video about them on this channel as well, as fillers and backlights and stuff, sometimes as key lights. Those little tube lights are amazing, super flexible. I highly recommend it, and they're ultra cheap. They're like $50 or something. I think I bought them for the two lights for like 50 euros. As you can probably tell, it was a very humble production. It's the gear I usually work with when I'm shooting show reels for actors, so I just basically took that concept of shooting those scenes and made something out of that with Joanna, and we created Isabel, and it's here for you guys to watch. If you want to take a look, let me know what you thought. And even though its lifespan isn't necessarily over, I look back at this not so much as a failure, which can be fairly assessed that it was, because I got no views, we have nothing to show for. But it wasn't a failure. First of all, it cemented my relationship with Joanna. She is now my bride-to-be. One day she will be. So that was something that I will never regret. So she is a lovely actress and a lovely person, and she's the best thing that ever happened to me in my entire life, which isn't necessarily short by now because I'm 46 going to 47. And but most of all, it was the exhilaration of getting back to work and shooting something with a purpose other than just an isolated scene for actors and stuff like that. It was very, very exhilarating and fulfilling to create again, to tell a story again. And that's the biggest takeaway, the biggest reward this project gave me was to work again and feel the adrenaline of shooting and then cutting in the editing suit and all that, and just seeing this story come alive, seeing those shots compile and make a story out of it. And it was really interesting to do the lighting as well, because as I said previously, I've never done lighting professionally, so to speak, in anything. I've always worked with DPs, and it was interesting to really, instead of just saying to the director of photography what I want and walking away for like an hour or two while he does the setup, it was a lot of fun to create the lighting from scratch and see what I want, what I want. Made a lot of mistakes, as I said, but I think that I actually improved as the episodes went on, and the latter ones I think are decent. But then again, I need you guys to watch if you want to and give me feedback on all those things as well. And yeah, I just wanted to shed some light on this project, plug it a little bit, and hopefully you guys will take your time to watch it. They're really short episodes. I mean, longest one is 10 minutes and it's the last one, so it's not going to take a lot of time from you guys. And if you do decide to watch it, I hope you enjoy it. And yeah, I will see you next time. Thank you very much if you stayed this long in this video. Thank you for your patience. Thank you for your attention. And Happy New Year, because in a couple of days we'll be in 2026 at the time of recording this video, obviously. Thank you, and I'll see you next time.